Hi, Erin Barnes, Next Generation Wellness. I'm coming in this week to talk about information overload, to talk about personal integrity, to talk about behaviour change. And what we are in these days is information age. And so what that brings to us is the opportunity for us all to basically change anything that we want in our lives, to digest all different bits of information out there, to be able to critically evaluate that and to choose what we want to integrate into our own lives. Now, the risk in this is when there is so much information, and if we have a goal that we are emotionally driven by, then what we do is choose based on a quick fix approach. So that can be at home, it could be within our bodies and our health, it could be in a workplace. How do we fix the problem as quickly as we can? Now, we know with the brain it's very hard to hack it and change it immediately. We know that 95% of our day we are on autopilot. And so the risk that I see today is that we are digesting so much information, and yet we have no strategic plan around how we're going to sustainably and successfully integrate that into our everyday. So there's a couple of things that happen in that situation. And one is we choose to change something, we go around and we find some information. We might even go to some workshops and some educational things, or go to, and we have a mentality of this these days, go to a person for them to fix it. So we might go to, if it's health, we might go to a naturopath, or we might go to a GP, or we might go to someone with this one-off appointment mentality. And so what we do is step away with all of this information and we try to integrate it. And it just doesn't stick for most of us, because what's happened over time is we've gone to change something and we've fallen short. Now, we know that we are very good with integrity in terms of saying and following through on what we say for other people. We aren't so great on doing that for ourselves. So every time we fall short on a goal that we've tried to integrate because the model is flawed and we're in this appointment mentality rather than a behaviour change mentality, and when we're in that state, what happens eventually is our personal integrity drops. And in my point of view, if that personal integrity drops, then we're at risk of that infiltrating into every other area of our life and our confidence dropping and our self-doubt increasing. So how I work around the brain is we look at including everything, every section of the brain for behaviour change, but it is a process. So the risk is that when we wish to change something that we've tried to change, and we may go to the next person to try and help us, what happens is this little red section here, in particular the amygdala, is firing the whole time to look for risk, to look for reward, to help our survival. But what happens is, if in the past we've fallen short on something, now we might have done it for the last year, it might have stemmed from a whole lifetime, but what that amygdala is going to look for is fear. It's going to see and process fear first, and that is going to stop that cortical processing to allow you to continue toward the goal that you're looking to achieve. Now, if we can shift that approach and start to look at all the things that sit behind behaviour change, all the things that are blocking you from subconsciously and consciously from actually achieving that goal, and then setting a really good strategic framework around how you're going to do that, then what the brain starts to do, what the amygdala starts to do, is look for hope and possibility, which it will process quite highly, rather than fear. So what we ultimately want to do is shift the way that we are changing our behaviours. So we want to digest the material, but I'm really making a pact for myself this year that I'm going to be less likely to say yes to people that want help and want me to run a workshop without some sort of strategic integration behind it. I think we're doing a disservice to people just giving information without the real understanding of how behaviour change works. And all we're doing in that as facilitators of education is letting people down so that their personal integrity drops each time they don't fulfill the goal that they're searching for. So my little self-inquiry this week for you is, how much in an area that you really want to change are you spending so much time digesting information but not actually having a strategic plan around dealing with the stuff that has gone before and a really good sustainable approach moving forward that fits into your life and all the elements that make your life up and all your responsibilities and your roles and your obligations. If you don't have that, then please message me, put a message below or private message me. I am more than happy to explain how this works for you so that you can start to integrate some of the education that you're learning and make some really great change in your life. Take care and be well.